Use anxiety as a motivator. That's an indicator of the direction that you need to be pushing. Understand that anxiety is a master. It wants to master you negatively. Anxiety will stop you from going into places that you wouldn't or that you shouldn't. Anxiety will keep you from doing some things that you know that you need to accomplish. So know this. Anxiety is negative in many, many ways, but you can use anxiety as a motivator to help you, to catapult you into doing some things. Let me encourage you that when you find anxiety, do something, as was already mentioned, do something that will actually take the pressure off your life while you're going to a place where you're learning how to deal with your anxieties. How many songs have never been written? How many books have never come because a person was anxious? They were so anxious that they couldn't write. Well, what we learn right here is that if we're able to declutter the anxiety, to see it for what it really is, we then can actually have a plan that we can work with. Use anxiety as a motivator. That's an indicator of the direction that you need to be pushing. You see, anxiety doesn't come really for no reason except it wants to distract you. But you always have to remember that you don't mix your anxiety with fear. Anxiety can be used always as something that's positive because it's a motivator. It's an indicator that there's something that's out there that you really want to see solved, but you don't believe that you can solve it. That's what anxiety is. So we don't worry about anything. Just don't worry about it. When you need to know something, it's going to come out. You just put yourself at the right place at the right time, watch the right stuff, get around the right people, and understand that anxiety can become your friend. It doesn't always have to become your enemy, but it starts out attempting to control you. You must never be controlled by anxiety, but you must always control the anxiety that you face. Anxiety speaks to you so loudly that you cannot seem to function in anything else. When anxiety first comes, it comes in the thought patterns of all those things that you put in the back of your mind that you said, you know what, we'll deal with this someday. We'll deal with this someday. We'll deal with all of these kinds of things some other time. But right now we don't have time. So what we do is we start putting them all back in the back and it starts piling up. But then all of a sudden, without us even knowing, what ends up occurring is that everything falls apart in there. And it becomes from the back of your mind, all of those fears. That exactly happened to me. That the day came when every fear that I put in the back of my mind, all of them, all that anxiety attacked me at once. Everything was talking to me, telling me all of these things. And so remember this. The way you can overcome anxiety is don't say, I'm going to get rid of this anxiety. I'm going to get rid of this anxiety, but because that's not going to do anything. What are some steps that you can take in order to be able to start turning down the faucet of anxiety that you deal with? And that is, the first thing is be clear about what you want. Be clear about what you can do. Because anxiety comes to you and says, well, you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do this, and this isn't going to work for you. You're never going to be able to make it over there. You need to go and find another job. You need to find another partner. You need to do all of this. And it's a person that is speaking with you. But the way that you deal with it is by giving yourself a list of things that you can do. This is where anxiety begins to get upset, because anxiety wants to bring you to a place where you have no movement at all. And when you have no movement at all, it sits there and attempts to beat your brains out because it brought you to a place of inertia. Write down the things that you can do. Take a look at those things. I can do this. And then let's say tomorrow's Wednesday. So now on Wednesday morning, what are my priorities for Wednesday? And why do we call them priorities? Write down your priorities. So why are they priorities? Because priorities are set down in a list and in order of their importance. A lot of times what happens is people think that they have too many things that are going on. No, you don't. If you have 7 things on that list that you need to do, anxiety doesn't want you to get one of them done. But if you put them down in the order of their importance and you knock them down 1, 2, 3, 4. But I had 6 for this morning. No, you didn't. You fulfilled everything you needed to fulfill. But make sure that they're in the order of importance that they need to be. And when you do, your life is going to be transformed.